There are days when the sun rises, yet your heart feels covered in shadow. When you look around and wonder if anyone truly understands the weight you carry, the dream you hold, or the quiet fire burning within you. You'll speak your truth and silence will echo back. You'll dream boldly, and the world will question your right to do so. But courage, my friend, was never about being seen by the crowd. It was always about standing firm, even when only one heart, one soul, or even 1% could see your light. If even 1% could see the vision planted within you, that's enough. Because that 1% may be the spark that ignites a revolution of faith within your own heart. It's not about convincing the world. It's about convincing yourself that you are enough, that your dream is enough, that your purpose deserves breath, and your voice deserves sound. When life presses you into corners of doubt, remember, courage is not loud, it whispers. It whispers to the tired, to the fearful, to the broken, try again. It whispers when the world turns its back, saying, you still matter. And that whisper, that quiet insistence of your worth, is often the very thing that will carry you through the storm. There will be days when the mirror doesn't reflect the strength you once believed in. You will question your journey, your path, your purpose. But courage doesn't need sight to believe. It needs faith to continue. Even if the world cannot see what you are becoming, you must keep becoming. So, walk on. Walk in the direction of your truth. Speak even if your voice trembles. Love even when your heart feels uncertain. And rise even when you feel unseen. Because one day that 1% will grow, and the light you carried will illuminate far more than you ever imagined. The world doesn't need everyone to see your value. It only needs you to believe in it long enough for your light to make its way through the dark. And when that happens, when even one soul finds hope in your courage, you will have changed the world more than you ever thought possible. Courage does not begin in the spotlight. It begins in the shadows, where no one is watching and no one is cheering. It begins in that quiet corner of your soul when you face the world's silence and still choose to stand. Most people believe courage is about bold gestures, grand speeches, or public triumphs. But the truth is, courage is born when no one else can see the battle you're fighting. It's in those private moments when fear tries to convince you to stop, and yet you whisper to yourself, I will try again tomorrow. That whisper, soft but steady, is the seed of courage. It grows not in comfort but in conflict, not in applause but in doubt. There will come a time when you will do your best, give your all, and still go unnoticed. You'll pour your heart into something, and it will feel as if the world turned away. But courage isn't about being acknowledged. It's about remaining faithful to what you believe in, even when the world looks away. The unseen battles shape the strongest souls. They teach you endurance when recognition is nowhere to be found. They remind you that your worth is not measured by validation, but by the quiet persistence of your spirit. The greatest strength you will ever discover is the one that grows in silence, far from the noise of praise. Think of a seed buried beneath the soil, unseen, unheard, yet full of promise. No one applauds its growth. No one witnesses its struggle through darkness. Yet, day by day, it pushes upward, guided by something greater than sight, faith. Courage is like that. It grows in you when you decide to believe in the unseen. In yourself, your vision, your calling. You may not see the results today, you may not feel progress tomorrow, but something within you continues to reach upward. It's the unseen power of persistence that carries you from doubt to destiny. Sometimes, courage means showing up when no one expects you to. It means standing firm when you could easily walk away. It means doing what's right when the crowd remains silent. And it is in those quiet acts, the ones no one claps for, that your true character is formed. Every unseen effort, every unnoticed step, Every tear that falls in silence is a piece of your becoming. You don't need an audience to be brave. You only need a heart that refuses to give up, even when no one else understands the struggle. The unseen moments are not empty. They are sacred. They are where your strength is forged and your soul is refined. There will be days when the silence feels heavy, when you'll wonder if your efforts matter at all. You'll question whether your courage counts if no one sees it. But those are the moments that define you. Because real courage is not about being seen. It's about seeing yourself clearly when the world refuses to. It's about recognizing the fire that still burns in you, even when the world turns cold. It's about reminding yourself that visibility does not equal value. You may walk through unseen paths, but every step leaves an imprint on your destiny. You may fight battles that no one knows about, but every victory, no matter how quiet, builds the foundation of your strength. Courage begins with the unseen, because that is where authenticity lives. When you have no one to impress, you act from the purest part of your soul. You move, not to be applauded, but to be aligned with your truth. The unseen journey teaches you to rely on inner strength rather than external approval. It shows you that the most powerful form of bravery is continuing when you have every reason to quit. That is the courage that changes people. That is the courage that changes you. It's not about what the world sees. It's about who you become when no one else is watching. And so, when you find yourself unseen, unheard, or uncelebrated, don't lose heart. The unseen places are where your courage begins to bloom. It is in those hidden moments that you are being prepared for greater ones. Every quiet prayer, every step forward in faith, every act of resilience that no one witnesses, they are all building something within you. Because one day, when the world finally sees your light, it will shine brighter because it was first lit in the dark, and that unseen beginning is where courage truly begins. Sometimes, all it takes is one small spark to ignite a fire that changes everything. You don't need the whole world to believe in you. You just need one person, one moment, or one small part of yourself that refuses to give up. The power of 1% lies not in its size, but in its strength to endure when everything else fades. When the noise of doubt grows louder, that 1% of belief becomes the whisper that tells you, keep going. It doesn't have to roar, it just has to stay alive. That single flicker of faith can move you through the deepest night, guiding you toward the light of your purpose. We often think we need everyone's approval to succeed, every door to open, every voice to cheer us on. But life doesn't work that way. The most powerful journeys are rarely understood by the masses. The world may not see your vision because it was not given to them. It was given to you. That 1% of belief inside you is sacred. It's the divine reminder that you carry something worth fighting for. Even when 99% of the world doubts your path, that remaining 1% can hold the strength of an army if you learn to protect it. It is not the number of believers that matters. It is the depth of your belief that defines your destiny. When you hold on to that 1%, it changes the way you move through pain. It gives you the courage to try again after failure, to rise after rejection, to dream even after disappointment. That small belief becomes your anchor when life feels like a storm. It may not erase your fear, but it steadies your steps. It tells you that progress doesn't need perfection. It just needs persistence. Every great achievement began with someone who believed in something that others could not yet see. That belief, that 1%, was the light they carried until the rest of the world caught up to it. Sometimes the 1% comes from someone else, a mentor, a friend, a stranger who sees potential in you when you've forgotten how to see it yourself. Their faith becomes the mirror that reflects your strength back to you. And sometimes, that 1% is you alone, standing in the quiet, deciding to believe in your dream when no one else will. Both are powerful. Both are holy. The presence of even a single believer can shift the course of your journey. It can remind you that impact does not require a crowd. It begins with connection. The connection between your heart and your purpose. The power of 1% is also the power of small beginnings. We live in a world that glorifies success, but forgets to honor the small steps that lead to it. Every mountain is climbed one step at a time. Every masterpiece starts with a single stroke, and every movement begins with one courageous soul. If you can focus on that 1%, the next step, the next breath, the next act of faith, you'll find that small progress is still progress. Greatness isn't built overnight, it is built quietly, consistently, one small victory at a time. And that's what the 1% teaches us. To honor the process, even when the promise seems far away. When life feels heavy and you start to lose faith, remind yourself, even 1% of belief can move you forward. You don't need to have it all figured out, you just need to have a reason not to quit. You don't need to see the entire path, you just need to take one more step. That 1% of courage you hold within is proof that your story isn't over yet. Because as long as there is one spark, darkness can never truly win. The smallest ember still burns bright enough to start a fire, and that fire, your fire, will light the way, even if no one else can see it yet. Faith is the quiet confidence that whispers, "I am enough," even when the world remains silent. It is the courage to move forward without applause, without approval, and without the reassurance of others. Validation feels comforting. It gives a sense of belonging, of being seen. But when you build your worth upon the recognition of others, it becomes fragile. Faith, on the other hand, is unshakable. It doesn't need permission to exist. It doesn't beg for acceptance. It simply is. Choosing faith over validation means choosing peace over perfection and authenticity over approval. It means learning to walk your path even when no one claps for you, because you understand that purpose was never meant to be a popularity contest. There will be days when you crave recognition, when your heart aches for someone to say, "I see you. I'm proud of you." It's human to want that. But the truth is, not everyone will understand the depth of your journey or the fire in your soul. Some people will question your motives, others will overlook your effort. If you depend on their validation to keep going, you'll find yourself constantly shrinking to fit into spaces that were never built for you. Faith teaches you to rise above that. It reminds you that your value does not fluctuate with public opinion. You are not defined by how loudly others cheer for you, but by how firmly you believe in the quiet work you're doing when no one is watching. Faith over validation means trusting that your path has purpose, even when the steps feel uncertain. It's walking forward when there's no applause, no affirmation, just the sound of your own heartbeat guiding you. Faith tells you that the seeds you've planted in silence will bloom in their own time. It gives you the patience to wait without losing hope, and the strength to continue without constant encouragement. When you choose faith, you release the need to prove. You stop chasing the fleeting satisfaction of being noticed, and start embracing the deeper fulfillment of being true. Validation can be a mirage. It feels real for a moment, but disappears when you chase it. The world's approval is temporary, conditional, and often based on what it can gain from you. Faith, however, is eternal. It exists even when the crowd walks away. It whispers, "Keep building, keep believing, keep becoming." It keeps you grounded in your purpose when the noise outside grows loud. Faith doesn't demand that you be perfect. It simply asks that you show up with honesty and heart. When you live with faith, you stop performing and start becoming. You stop waiting for permission and start walking in power. There's a deep freedom that comes when you no longer seek validation. You begin to understand that you are already whole, already worthy, already enough. You stop measuring your worth by likes, views, or praise. You stop chasing the temporary approval of others because you found something far more stable: belief. Faith frees you from the endless cycle of proving yourself. It teaches you to find joy in progress rather than perfection. It shifts your focus from who sees you to who you are becoming. The applause fades, but the work remains. And it is the work, the dedication, the persistence born out of faith that will carry you toward your destiny. Faith over validation is a decision you make every single day. It's the moment you choose to keep creating when no one notices your art. It's continuing to speak your truth when your voice shakes. It's showing kindness when no one returns it. It's believing that your purpose has weight even when no one acknowledges it. That kind of faith builds an inner foundation so strong that no criticism can break it and no silence can shake it. The world may not always see your worth, but faith ensures you never forget it. Because in the end, it is not validation that carries you through. It is faith. The belief that what you are doing matters, that who you are becoming is sacred, and that your light will shine even when no one is watching. Strength is not always thunderous. It does not always roar or announce itself in the open. Sometimes strength arrives quietly, like a whisper in the middle of the storm, reminding you to hold on just a little longer. The world often glorifies loud resilience, the kind that looks bold, confident, and fearless. But real strength doesn't always shout. It breathes softly in moments when your hands tremble, when your voice cracks, when your heart breaks and you still choose to stand. The whisper of strength says, "Keep going." It may not drown out the noise of doubt, but it speaks directly to your soul, assuring you that you are not finished yet. The whispers of strength come in those ordinary, hidden moments when life feels too heavy to bear. It's the quiet decision to get out of bed when grief has wrapped itself around your chest. It's showing up to work when your heart is somewhere else. It's the moment you choose to smile even when you're fighting tears. These small acts might seem invisible to the world, but they are monuments of courage. The strength that whispers doesn't need witnesses. It thrives in solitude. It's not about proving you're unbreakable. It's about understanding that even in your brokenness, you are still enough. Sometimes the whisper of strength is so soft that you mistake it for weakness. You may feel tired, uncertain, and ready to quit. But even then, something deep within you says, "Not yet." That's strength. It's the flicker of faith that refuses to go out. Strength doesn't always feel like power. Sometimes it feels like endurance. It's the ability to keep breathing when the world feels like it's collapsing. It's the grace to rest without giving up. It's the courage to cry, to grieve, to feel, and still believe that healing is possible. You don't need to be loud to be strong. You just need to keep moving, even if it's inch by inch. The whispers of strength are often born in pain. When you are broken open, that's where you begin to hear your truest voice. The world will tell you that strength means holding it all together. But real strength is knowing when to let go, when to pause, when to admit that you are not okay, and still choose to continue. It's in those moments of honesty that your soul rebuilds itself. The whisper inside you doesn't demand perfection. It only asks for presence. It tells you to keep walking, even if you can't see the destination. It tells you to believe, even if everything around you looks uncertain. That quiet resilience is the kind of power that no storm can steal. Strength whispers in many languages, through faith, through love, through perseverance. It speaks when you offer kindness while your own heart aches. It speaks when you forgive someone who never said sorry. It speaks when you choose hope, even when it feels foolish. The world may never applaud your silent battles, but the universe honors them. Every tear you wipe away, every time you stand up again, every time you whisper, "I can do this," when no one else is listening. That is strength in its purest form. It's not loud because it doesn't need to be. Its quietness is its power. The softest voice often carries the greatest truth. And perhaps the most beautiful thing about these whispers of strength is that they never leave you. Once you've heard them, they live inside you forever. They remind you that you are not the same person who once broke. You are stronger, deeper, and wiser now. Every hardship, every loss, every fall has taught you something about endurance, grace, and faith. So when the world grows loud with chaos and fear, return to that quiet voice within. It is the part of you that knows your worth, that believes in your light, that refuses to give up. It may whisper, but it speaks with the authority of survival. Because true strength does not need to shout to be powerful. It simply keeps going. There are seasons in life where you will be invisible. When your effort goes unnoticed, your kindness unacknowledged, your dreams unappreciated. In those moments, it's easy to believe that invisibility means insignificance. But becoming often happens in the dark, long before the world ever takes notice. Flowers bloom quietly beneath the soil, unseen by anyone, yet that unseen process is what makes their beauty possible. You too are growing in ways no one can see. The silence around you is not proof that you've been forgotten. It's proof that you're still in progress. Becoming without being seen is one of the most sacred journeys you'll ever walk, because it teaches you to trust the unseen work happening inside your soul. When no one sees your struggle, it's tempting to give up. You question whether your effort matters, whether your dreams hold meaning if they're met with silence. But becoming is not about the audience. It's about the authenticity of the process. It's the small, unseen steps that shape your strength. The quiet prayers, the late nights, the internal battles you fight without applause. Every act of persistence in solitude strengthens your foundation. You may not see the results right away, but your roots are growing deeper with every unseen effort. One day, what you built in the dark will stand unshakable in the light. The process may be hidden, but the purpose is always alive. Becoming without being seen also teaches humility. When no one notices your growth, you learn to do things for the right reasons. Not for validation, but for transformation. The unseen seasons strip away ego and leave behind sincerity. You begin to understand that you're not growing for the approval of others, but to fulfill something deeper within yourself. Growth in silence is pure, it is honest. It belongs entirely to you. And while the world might overlook your progress now, the lessons you gather in this hidden space are shaping you into someone extraordinary. Someone capable of carrying the light you're destined to share. There's a sacred strength that develops in hidden places. When no one else is watching, you learn to rely on faith, not feedback. You begin to trust that your journey has meaning, even when it doesn't yet make sense. These unseen seasons are not wasted. They are refining you. The world celebrates the bloom, but forgets the struggle it takes to break through the soil. Don't despise your hidden phase. Honor it. This is where you learn patience, resilience, and grace. This is where you develop the kind of strength that doesn't depend on recognition. The unseen season is where you become ready. Sometimes, the silence that surrounds your becoming is not rejection. It's protection. The world might not be ready for the version of you that is forming. The unseen stage is where you are shaped, healed, and strengthened. You're learning how to carry your gift, how to protect your peace, how to trust yourself again. It's a time of preparation, not punishment. The stillness is not emptiness, it's alignment. Every challenge, every delay, every hidden moment is molding you into someone who will shine not for attention, but for purpose. The world cannot see it yet, but the work being done in secret will one day speak loudly through your success, your peace, and your strength. Becoming without being seen is one of the purest forms of faith, because it means believing in what you cannot yet prove. It means trusting that your efforts matter, even when there's no applause to confirm it. It means walking forward without assurance, guided only by the conviction that you are meant for more. When you learn to grow quietly, you become unshakable. You stop depending on validation and start standing on vision. You understand that the darkness is not your enemy, it's your cocoon. And one day, when you finally emerge, the world will see the beauty that was being formed in silence all along. Your unseen becoming is not the absence of progress. It's the birthplace of transformation. There is a light inside you, one that no amount of darkness can ever fully extinguish. It may flicker, it may fade, it may dim under the weight of life's disappointments, but it never dies. That light is your purpose. It's the essence of who you are, the quiet strength that refuses to surrender no matter how hard life becomes. You were not created by accident. Your existence carries meaning. Every pain you've endured, every joy you've tasted, every lesson you've learned, they all shape the brilliance that lives within you. The world might not always recognize it, but that doesn't diminish its power. Your light was never meant to please everyone. It was meant to guide, to heal, and to awaken something sacred. First within yourself, and then within others. The purpose of your light is not always to shine the brightest. It is to shine with authenticity. Too often, people dim their light to make others comfortable, afraid of being too much, too passionate, too loud, too different. But your light loses its meaning when you try to hide it. You were born to illuminate, to bring warmth, clarity, and truth into dark places. The glow that comes from within you is not arrogance, it's alignment. When you walk in your truth, when you speak from your heart, when you dare to be fully yourself, that's when your light fulfills its purpose. Even if only one person is touched by your presence, even if only one heart is lifted because you chose to shine, that is enough. Your light has purpose because it was forged in pain. Every scar you carry, every setback you've faced, every storm you've survived has refined your glow. The brightest lights are not untouched by darkness. They are shaped by it. You know empathy because you have known heartbreak. You know strength because you have known weakness. You know how to lift others because you've known what it feels like to fall. Your light is not perfect. It's powerful because it's real. And it shines brightest in the places where you once felt broken. The cracks in your soul are not flaws. They are openings through which your light escapes to inspire others. When you embrace the purpose of your light, you realize that it was never just about you. You are part of a greater design, a web of connection where your courage can spark hope in someone else's darkness. Sometimes, the simple act of being yourself becomes someone else's survival story. A kind word, a gentle smile, a gesture of faith can remind another soul that light still exists in the world. You may never know how deeply your presence affects others, but that's the beauty of true purpose. It doesn't always announce itself. You may think you're walking through life quietly, but your light is echoing in the hearts of people who needed to see someone like you simply keep going. There will be moments when your light feels small, when the world's chaos makes you question whether what you do matters. In those times, remember this: even the smallest flame can guide a traveler through the night. You don't need to light up the entire sky to make a difference. Sometimes, it's enough to illuminate the space right in front of you. The purpose of your light is not measured by how far it reaches, but by how sincerely it shines. The universe doesn't ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be present. Keep showing up. Keep shining even when it feels unnoticed. Light always finds a way to be seen. It only needs you to keep it alive. And as you continue on your journey, You will begin to understand that your light is not just your gift. It's your responsibility. The world is full of people walking through shadows, searching for hope, for direction, for a reminder that they are not alone. Your light was given to you so that others could find their way, too. It is the beacon that tells someone, you can survive this. You can begin again. So don't hide it, don't shrink it. Let it burn boldly, beautifully, and without apology. Because your light, the one that has endured storms, silence, and struggle, was never random. It was chosen, it has purpose, and it was meant to shine. So, my friend, when you stand at the edge of your fear, when the noise of doubt grows louder than your heartbeat, pause and remember, courage does not need a crowd. You do not need the whole world to see you, to believe in you, or to understand your journey. If even one soul, even one heart, even 1%, can feel the truth of what you carry, that is enough. Because from that one spark, the flame of hope begins to grow. Every step you take toward your truth is an act of defiance against fear. Every time you rise after falling, you teach the world what endurance looks like. Every time you choose faith over fear, you prove that light, no matter how faint, can still pierce the darkness. You are not walking unseen. The universe watches, the earth listens, and your very existence echoes purpose. You are not lost. You are unfolding. The courage you seek has always been inside you. It doesn't roar, it whispers. It doesn't demand attention, it demands honesty. And when you live honestly, when you walk in the fullness of who you are, your life itself becomes a message. A poem of perseverance written in the language of light. You become proof that one soul can make a difference, that one voice can awaken hearts, that one act of courage can shift the tide of despair. So rise even when no one applauds. Shine even when no one sees. Speak even when your voice trembles. Because your purpose is not defined by how many eyes are watching, but by how deeply your light touches those who need it most. The world doesn't need perfection. It needs your authenticity, your faith, your fire. And one day, when you look back, you'll see that what felt invisible was never unseen. The moments you thought no one noticed were the very moments that shaped your strength. The silence you feared became the soil of your growth. You will realize that even if only 1% saw your light, that was all it ever took. Because that 1% was enough to remind the world that courage still exists. So stand tall, keep walking, keep believing, keep shining. Because the world is waiting for the light that only you can bring. And even if only a few can see it, it still has the power to change everything.